The Weight.
The Weight, taken from our album The Weight of Your Love. So go on then, Russ, you start.
This, I think, sums up the record, and it feels like a smart opener.
Absolutely.
Song that we had for quite some time. Tried a variety of things on it, and we ended up doing it very quickly in the studio.
I think half the record we've had for a long time, and it's been a long time in gestation, this record, and we tried in many different ways, and I guess just going back to the demo, stripping it down.
Yep.
And then also knowing when to make it big.
Yeah.
And that big old riff that starts the song and starts the album was something that we came up with in the rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Kind of Justin's thing, wasn't it?
That was, Justin riff.
It just feels like an elegant and way to open the record. It's kind of big without being brash. And I think the album's going to be called The Weight of Your Love, and a lot of the songs on the record are love songs of a type. And pretty straightforward, really, I think, lyrically, that one.
I think one thing that a lot of people will notice on this record is that the beats are a little different from previous records. There's more straightforward rock beats, and it gives a bit more of a groove. This one's got quite an aggressive bass line, and there's a lot going on. Just kept evolving throughout a couple of years, really.
Some Eastern strings.
Yeah, this was the first song that Justin started playing guitar on the record, and obviously it was we had done previous versions with the old lineup, and so to get a fresh take on it was definitely interesting and very different.
So what was one of the couple that we've played live? So it's part of the kind of formation of the new band was for the shows really to start with, but we gelled together and working on a song like Sugar and Two-Eyed Spider, two songs that have both made the record, pretty much the way we played them then, pretty much.
Yeah.
Were important parts of that process really, of forming the new band. Sugar's again another love song, a kind of creepy one, a bit of a stalker love song, but not too creepy.
A Ton of Love,
another love song. God, I think most of them are really, but I think this one's quite explosive. In its delivery as a song, and also like I think the kind of sentiment that it's kind of express, that kind of like rush of adrenaline or the explosion of love, as it were. But
we wrote it in a day. I don't think there was much more like time in it spent in the rehearsal room. It came together quite quickly.
I think you're right, yeah.
It was one of those that clicks straight away rather than having to kind of go over it and really work at it.
I think singles are often that way, aren't they?
Yeah. And then again, Justin's riff at the front. I don't know. We were just trying to think of an interesting way to play a big riff, and that kind of Eastern kind of vibe, I don't know, makes it a bit more interesting, I think. And then halfway through, get a big stonking riff.
Bit of brass in there as well.
Yeah. Great bit of saxophone at the end, which was an addition. This is the first time that we've really used brass throughout a record, and it's a great texture.
There's a slightly funny story behind this song. Is that I wrote this song. I didn't initially write it for editors. I was in conversation with our label about 2 years ago, a guy who's no longer at the label, but he was putting together a record for an X Factor winner, and he was talking about how he'd approached certain songwriters to like submit songs for this project, and I just kind of part of me thought, I wonder if I can write a song for an artist like that. So I sat down at the piano and wrote the song. It was, I guess, the most straightforward song I've ever written in many ways. Just straight down the line, simple. It's a breakup song. But I guess the delivery and the melodic nature of it as well was a bit more straightforward than I'd done before. And I sent it to him and didn't hear anything back from him. He's been fired since. And that record didn't do very well anyway. So luckily we got to keep it. And I don't know. Once I played it to the guys, and it was a song that people were like, "Well, let's just, I don't know, let's do it."
Yeah, I think sometimes there's a thought process of what an editor's song should be or how it should sound, but I think when you just strip a song back and you enjoy it, then that's the main thing. And when we all heard it, everyone thought it was a great song. It took a long time to come together. Obviously with a simpler song and a ballad, how you present it's always going to be a little bit tricky.
Especially for us.
Yeah, and Jakir helped a lot in the studio. This is the one that took the longest time.
Circling it until eventually
I think there was one point where it kind of all came together, and by the end of the song everyone was starting to understand where it was going. And then I think it's
I think it's all right.
Yeah, I think it's great. This song is quite different from the demo that Tom sent. When we started rehearsing with Justin and Elliott, we got a room in Birmingham and just hired it for 6 months, and that's where we rehearsed all the songs for this record. And this, I think, took quite a bit of time up in the rehearsal room. How to get into the chorus, and there's a different riff part as well, different build up, and just to get the mood right as well. It's kind of a big mid-tempo rock song.
It's tricky.
Yeah,
tricky one to get right. It's also probably the song on the record where we've thrown the most on.
Yeah,
we talked about, I don't know, like some of those moments on I don't know, like Smashing Pumpkins records or Everything Must Go by the Manics. Like, when just when rock songs go for the throat and go for the orchestration and get them right. And I think this is our attempt at doing that. I don't think you can do that over the course of a whole record because it gets hard to take. But this is the moment on the record where the kitchen sink is on it. So there's big brass moments, big string moments. I mean, it's a big song as well in kind of vocal delivery. It's almost a power ballad in some ways. It's another relationship song, kind of. Those things in relationships where it goes a bit funny. So it's one of those really. Nothing is a song that like Two-Hearted Spider was ones that we'd put out on stage, and Nothing on stage, which we played a few times last year, went down really well. So it's been a bit of a funny one because putting that version of the song, the live version of the song that we did try to put on to record, because it was a tricky decision to leave that behind, because I don't think any of us thought that the song was served well enough in that version. And I think if a song works on stage, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for the song. So I think it will disappoint some people when they hear Nothing, maybe. It's not the version that they're used to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of tough, really, because
I think that was the toughest thing with getting our heads around it, because we knew that we'd done a live version that a lot of people liked, and that was impressive, but it was mostly impressive because of just noise and
it was an exciting wasn't it, an exciting piece of music, and it is good, but every time the root of the problem for me was that the song I wrote was in 3/4 and the live version in 4/4, and I didn't feel like it actually worked, especially when I started to sing it, as the way the song should. So basically, we've stripped it back and done it a lot more like the song I wrote.
Yeah.
So I tried to serve the song as best as possible. In doing that, we talked about maybe I don't know, kind of developing it with a lot of strings, and I asked Clint Mansell to, I sent him the song basically, see if he liked it, and if he was up for doing a big arrangement, or an arrangement, not necessarily a big arrangement. And he said yeah. So he sent us this kind of like we had some little motifs that we liked that he's incorporated into what he's done, and then so there's an element of collaboration, and Yeah, I was listening to Revolver on the way up, and we talked about Eleanor Rigby and how brave it was, just song with just a string arrangement and voice.
Yeah,
and I think this is us trying to have a go at that, really, with the help of a fellow Brummie.
Yeah, exactly. And we wanted this record to be more expansive. We wanted to have moments of extremes, and I think we've achieved that with. There is a variety of different songs on there presented.
It is quite a varied set of songs. I think stylistically, the way they go. I think it's the point on the record, in terms of Elliott, like introducing a new voice into Editors and our sound. And Elliott sings on most of the songs with me, but this song in particular is on where he jumps out. His vocal is as important as my lead vocal, so kind of one of the hooks of the chorus, hooks of the song. So I think that's nice. It's very nippy. It's kind of it's a pop song, isn't it?
Yeah. Weird pop song.
Yeah. I mean, Formaldehyde is it's again another kind of relationship and love song, but the imagery is very dark and nasty on the surface. But in essence, I think it's song is about saying, I belong to you, basically. So it is quite a positive, I guess, emotion or feeling. But the imagery, is pretty dark and I don't know. It's interesting to me to write songs with imagery like that, I guess.
Musically as well. There's always a inclination to step on like the distortion pedals, make something get a bit beefier, but this one just kind of nips along and takes you on a journey without having to do that.
Sugar sweet in many ways, I think. Hyena is one of the more rock moments on the record.
Yeah.
Definitely like a band in a room, like vibe to the track. I think as soon as the riff kind of Elliott developed the riff, it was like right, straight down the middle. Come on then.
Yeah, I think it's quite a playful track with the way that we've kind of done it. It's a much more straightforward rock song. I think the imagery on it, it kind of works with how it's presented. That it is quite playful, a bit cheeky.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing Hyena. A bit cheeky.
When we started this new lineup, it was one of the initial songs that we did, and just going back to the demo of Tom's, we wanted to get some of the darkness out of it rather than make it a more pop song, and it's a big brooding song. I don't know, it feels heavy.
It's got a bit of menace about it.
Yeah, and it's I think the repetition in it, not giving up, just keeps coming over you like waves, was something that we wanted, and I think it recorded great. It was the first song that we actually recorded with Jakir, and as soon as we started hearing the drum sound that he was getting, we kind of knew that he was going to be the right producer for all these tracks. He was this is a new lineup, and you're getting to hear the band play really all together, and I think this track does it very well. Yeah,
it's like big sounding but still soulful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's
you hear how it is at the start. It's the acoustic, drums and bass, and sounds good. Yeah,
this was written post lineup change, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, this was.
So one of the latter songs written for the record. We tried it a couple of ways actually. I think the demo that I wrote I very much like, I guess.
Yeah.
The song that's on the record. We did try to go to Townlight and make it into a big kind of stomping, and it almost worked.
Yeah, but not quite. And again, it was we did do some rough demos and sent them off to Jakir, and he, obviously producers have to be honest, and he said this one doesn't stand up with the way it's performed, and it was when we actually just got into the into the studio, and it got to the day where we were going to be working on that. And I think we'd all kind of realised that it should kind of go back to original demo form. And it was a song that was done pretty much all in one take in the same room. It's a great moment. I think it's a lot of people's favourite track. It's got a real sense of atmosphere.
Yeah, lights down low, and like we ran through the song about 4 times and just picked the best take. And that's basically it. Really.
Recorded onto tape. There you go.
Yeah, another love song, but it suits the mood, I think.
We demoed this when we actually demoed in this light.
Yeah.
And all it was really was Tom's chords and the mantra, and then Ed had a beat for it, and it was just one of those that kind of just got left behind in a...
It never developed, it never jumped out to be something more than, I don't know.
No.
Is that really?
But then when we started rehearsing again, it was interesting, kind of, we were going back to all of the demos that we've had, and with fresh ears, kind of like, we can kind of do anything we want again with some of these songs, and revitalise a few of the kind of demos that, I don't know, just been sitting around. And you kind of picked it up and started writing on it.
Basically wrote a chorus for it, really.
Yeah. And then we started rehearsing it. Again, it was we started doing the beat that had originally been in a demo. Didn't quite work, and we'd been in the studio with Jakir all day, and it's one of those on close inspection when you start hearing things through the speakers, it's not working. No one's really happy in the room. It's not getting a positive reaction. So you know that you've got to do something else and change it. Ed just put down a straightforward loop which doesn't change throughout the whole song, and then we just built it from there. And it's a soulful moment. Again, something different from what we've done.
It's funny, like, because that's a very old song, and just seeing it develop and suddenly for some reason stood up and fought for itself. It's kind of lyrically, religion's not really important to me as a person, and it kind of touches on that a bit, I guess, but again, it's a love song, so I guess no religion, only love type vibe is what that song tries to get at. So, yeah.